The Prime Minister and his ministers will be crisscrossing the country to sell the budget, and it seems he has some work to do. Joining me live is Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume. Jane, good to see you. Your reaction to the post-budget news poll: a record low number of people have judged it as good for the economy, and a majority believe it will throw more fuel on the inflation fire.
Well, Kenny, as you know, that the only poll that really matters is the one on election day, but I would imagine there would be some quite nervous Labor Party backbenchers out there that were looking for more in this budget to help them up in the lead up to the next election. It was a budget that was met resoundingly with disappointment, not just from the coalition, obviously, but from economists and from commentators right around the world. Indeed, I've never seen such a poor response to a budget as we saw on Wednesday morning's newspapers after Tuesday night. And you can understand why. It simply didn't speak to the important issues to ordinary Australians who are really doing it tough, who have found themselves going backwards under Labor over the last 2 years. They were crying out for help, but all they saw was a sugar hit that is potentially going to fuel the inflation fire and make matters worse, making sure the interest rates stay higher for longer. That's not what Australians need right now.
On the question of whether the coalition would have delivered a better budget for the current economic conditions, the majority, 43%, said no, compared to 37% who said yes. So they're not really happy about the budget, but they're not really buying what Peter Dutton is saying either.
Well, again, what we heard on Thursday night in the budget in reply was a clear statement of what's important to the coalition, which is taming inflation and getting the economy back on track, making sure that Australians have an opportunity to get into housing, controlling our immigration program to make sure that it's delivering for all Australians, not simply the Labor Party, and making sure that we set ourselves up for the prosperity of the future, particularly by getting energy prices down. Energy prices have soared in the last 2 years. A $300 sugar hit subsidy paid for by taxpayers to taxpayers isn't the solution. The solution is getting more supply into the system. That's the only way to sustainably bring energy prices down. And that's what you heard from Peter Dutton on Thursday night.
Yeah, less than a third of people surveyed believe that they will be better off financially from the budget, despite a tax cut, rental assistance and the $300 energy rebate. But the reading was higher than the previous two budgets. And Labor's primary vote lifted a point to 34%, and the two-party preferred also widened 2 points in Labor's favour, 52 to 48. So is people thinking the Treasurer did what he could under the circumstances that he was dealt, but, even though they're not really happy with it?
I think people heard exactly what that budget presented, which is years and years of economic pain in the future. Economic growth is forecast to go down. Unemployment is forecast to go up, and interest rates don't show any sign of slowing down soon. The Reserve Bank Board aren't stupid. They know that an artificial reduction, small reduction in headline inflation isn't enough to help sway their decision to lower interest rates sooner. And Australians are paying the price for that. In fact, the average Australian household now pays more than around $35,000 more on their mortgage than they did 2 years ago. Their real disposable income has gone backwards by 7.5%. If people out there are feeling poorer, there's a good reason for that. That's because they are poorer. They've been poorer under this Labor government, and Tuesday night saw no real solutions to that.
Jane Hume, thank you.